people will be discussing, and lots of ethicists. You know, an ethicist is somebody who sees something wrong with whatever you have in mind. And it's very hard to find an ethicist who considers any change worth making, because he says, what about the consequences? And of course,
所以这就是人们和道德伦理家所常常提到的话题。道德理论家是那种会看到你的错误，看到你就早就已经知道你错误的人。要找到一个认同改变的道德理论家是很困难的，因为他们会说，那后果由谁负责呢？
We're not responsible for the consequences of what we're doing now, are we? Like all this complaint about clones, and yet two random people will mate and have this child, and both of them have some pretty rotten genes, and most the child is likely to come out to be average.
当然，我们并不需要面对我们目前所做的事情负责，对吧？就像大家抱怨复制动物一样，任由两个随机选取的人结婚生小孩，若这两个人的相当差的基因，他们生出来的小孩可能会很普通。
Which by chimpanzee standards is very good indeed, but if we do have longevity, then we'll have to face the population growth problem anyway, because people live at 200 or 1,000 years, then we can't let them have a child more than about once every 200 or 1,000 years.
如果是根据黑猩猩的标准，那个小孩已经算是很好了。如果人人都很长寿，我们就必须面对人口增加的问题。 因为如果我们活个200年或是1000年，每一个小孩出生的间隔就不能短于200年或是1000年。
And so there won't be any workforce. And one of the things Laurie Garrett pointed out, and others have, is that a society that doesn't have people of working age is in real trouble, and things are going to get worse.
在这种情况下，也不会有劳动人口。 Laurie Garrett 点名的其中一件事，其他的人曾指出相同的问题，那就是如果一个社会没有人属于劳动人口的话，那就麻烦大了。而且
there's nobody to educate the children or to feed the old. When I talk about a long lifetime, of course, I don't want somebody who's 200 years old to be like our image of what a 200-year-old is, which is dead.
而且事情还会变得更糟，因为没有人会去教育小孩如何抚养老人。所以当我在谈论到延长寿命时，我当然不希望一个人可以活到200岁，也在所想的200岁一样，那其实都已经算是死掉了。
And actually, you know, there's about 400 different parts of the brain which seem to have different functions. Nobody knows how most of them work in detail, but we do know that there are lots of different things in there, and they don't always work together. I like.
你知道人脑大概有4个不同的部位，它们彼此有不同的功能，没有人确切知道它们实际上的运作方式。我们只知道大脑有很多东西，而且会在同时一起运作。
Freud's theory that most of them are canceling each other out. And so if you think of yourself as a sort of a city with 100 resources.
我喜欢 Fred 的理论，他认为大脑的部分工作是去抵消彼此的作用。如果你把自己想成一座城市，你会有很多的资源。
Then when you're afraid, for example, you may discard your long-range goals, but you may think deeply and focus on exactly how to achieve that particular goal. You throw everything else away. You become a monomaniac. All you care about is not stepping out on that platform.
比如说，当你害怕的时候，你就会抛弃你大范围的目标，专注的深入思考如何达到某个特定的目标。你把所有的东西都丢掉了，变成一个偏执狂。你在乎的只是不要离开这个平台。
And when you're hungry, food becomes more attractive and so forth. So I see emotions as highly evolved subsets of your capability. Emotion is not something added to thought. An emotional state is what you get when you remove 100 or 200 of your normally available resources.
当你很饿的时候，食物会变得更加迷人。我认为情感是高度演化下的附属功能。情感不是思想的附属品，情感是当你移除100个或200个正常有用的资源后，你会得到的东西。
So thinking of emotions as the opposite of, as something less than thinking, is immensely productive, and I hope in the next few years to show that this will lead to smart machines.
所以情感并不亚于思想。同时，我希望在接下来的近几年内，这些东西能引导智慧机器的诞生。
And I guess I better skip all the rest of this, which are some details on how we might make those smart machines. And the main idea is, in fact, that the core of a really smart machine is one that recognizes that a certain kind of problem is facing you.
超级智慧机器最重要的核心是清楚定义自己所面对的哪种问题。
This is a problem of such and such a type, and therefore there's a certain way or ways of thinking that are good for that problem. So I think the future main problem of psychology is to classify types of predicaments, types of situations, types of obstacles, and also to classify available and possible ways to think and pair them up. So you see,
这些是这一类的问题，这些是解决这些问题可能思考的方向。所以我认为未来心理学的主要问题是去区分各种困境形态、各种情境及各种障碍，同时也要去区分与之相对应之可能思考的方向。
It's almost like a Pavlovian, we lost the first 100 years of psychology by really trivial theories where you say, how do people learn how to react to a situation?
所以你看，这几乎就像是巴夫洛夫的古典制约学习。我们因为一些无用的理论而舍弃了心理学最初100年的研究。你会问人们如何学习对某种情境做出适当的回应？
What I'm saying is, after we go through a lot of levels, including designing a huge messy system with thousands of parts, we'll end up again with the central problem of psychology, saying what are the not what are these situations, but what are.
我要说的是，在我们经历各种阶段，包括用数千个零组件设计出一个庞大的系统之后，我们还是面对心理学最核心的问题，那就是情境不重要。
The kinds of problems, and what are the kinds of strategies? How do you learn them? How do you connect them up? How does a really creative person invent a new way of thinking out of the available resources and so forth?
问题才是最重要的，策略及学习的方法才是最重要的。怎么把各种事情连接在一起才是最重要的。让一个真正有创意的人从有限的资源里面发展出新的思考模式。
I think in the next 20 years, if we can get rid of all of the traditional approaches to artificial intelligence, like neural nets and genetic algorithms and rule-based systems, and just turn our sights a little bit higher to say.
所以我想在接下来的20年中，如果我们能摆脱传统发展人工智慧的方法，像是神经网络、遗传基因演算法和规则式系统，然后把我们的视野提高一点点。